wanted to provide a little bit of information about myself. I used to work at Southern Indian Health Council. I was there for 4.5 years, and now I'm doing health equity at a different organization. I'm a registered dietitian. That's what I was doing at the clinic, and also a certified intuitive eating counselor, which I will get into for this presentation. Just quick agenda of some things that I want to go through, some budget-friendly foods and meals, intuitive eating, of course, health at every size, which I also want to go into depth with, and some resources, and then, of course, answer any questions that you may have. But a little icebreaker, I just want to go through everyone's favorite food. Mine is pizza, and just like any type of pizza I'm in love with. So I just want to like go around the room and ask people, like, I want this to be as interactive as possible, like not me just talking at you. So would appreciate some feedback. But maybe we could go around.
What's your favorite food?
I love a lot of food.
Yes,
very much so, from my whole soul. But if I have to choose, I'm gonna go pasta.
That's what I'm
There's
kind of
so many different
anything
pastas.
Noodle based for me.
Yeah.
So if it's like ramen, it could be like any type of like hand pulled noodles. It could be pasta. Like I'll eat any noodle.
Same. Yeah.
At least you're part of this.
Oh, I don't have to say enchiladas.
Oh, yes.
Chilaquiles and eggs.
Ooh.
That's a good answer.
You talking to me?
A baked potato.
Okay.
I love that.
Staple.
That is a staple.
Yeah.
I'm with the noodles. I like ramen.
Okay, me too, yes. Yeah. All different types of food.
Oh, speaking of
okay.
potatoes.
I know. A lot of people think that they can't eat carbohydrates, and we're going to kind of go into that. But I do just want to note that potatoes are actually good for you. They're really high in potassium. You could do regular potatoes, sweet potatoes. They're a good budget-friendly food. You can get a lot for, on average price, like 60 cents a pound. So definitely a good food. Just some other quick foods that I wanted to note that are also healthy, a little bit more affordable. I know food prices are going up and are crazy, but these are some things that you can kind of keep as like a staple. Same with some other foods. Again, brown rice. I know like a lot of people think that they can't eat rice for the carbohydrates. This is kind of something that I've encountered a lot when I was working at the clinic. And so, you can have rice, it's okay. Oatmeal, which we're gonna make something with oatmeal. Oatmeal is really good for lowering blood sugar. It's just a really healthy food. More fiber in your diet is really important. So beans, also really good protein source. So I do like to recommend beans like every day if you can. Lentils, I don't know if anyone has had lentils, but like lentil dal is really good, or like lentil soup. And also popcorn as a snack is healthy, a little bit more affordable than other snacks. Also some protein foods, discussed beans. You could do fish if you like fish, also like really good for omega-3 fats. Frozen chicken, peanut butter, or nuts. Nuts can be expensive, but peanuts can be a little less expensive. I always made beef stew at the clinic when we would have like events, so something I'm used to making. And you can also, I like to recommend soups and stews for budget-friendly meals because you can make a lot of it and it can last you. You can also freeze it. You can do like bean soups. Baked potato. I'm happy I put this in here.
Shout out to Rena.
Because healthy meal, you can add things to it. You could do like beans on top of it, or cheese, or sour cream, or whatever you want, and it's a healthy, good, affordable meal. Vegetable fried rice, something pretty easy to make and is healthy for you. We put vegetables. Chicken, tofu. Tofu's another protein. I don't know if anyone likes tofu, but it's pretty affordable and it's really good for you. So just some tips. I think for me it's really helpful to use a list and try not to go outside of that list when you're going food shopping, because it's like you just want to buy everything. So trying to just like stick to your list. Plan your recipes if you can. You don't have to like make like a rigid meal plan, but just have some ideas for what you want to make in the week. And it's also helpful to use one ingredient for multiple things. So maybe you can do like vegetable fried rice and also like rice and chicken, or like using like the same ingredient for multiple meals can be helpful. I already mentioned freezing meals, using leftovers for a couple days. Yeah. And then some healthy snacks, fruit and nuts, salsa, guacamole, yogurt, you know, really just like any kind of, I like to, kind of as like a rule of thumb, I tell people like anything that's grown, like you can eat any kind of plant foods are really good for you because of that fiber content. Chocolate, I also come from this idea that all foods can fit into your diet. I think that's really important, and not to restrict yourself from eating foods that you want to have, which we're going to get into. It's a little bit more about intuitive eating. So wanted to ask you all if you've ever heard of intuitive eating. I know, Taylor, you've heard of it? Yeah, you've heard it. Okay, what do you know about it?
Like listening to your body more so instead of like going off of restrictions. So like if a food makes me feel good, then I eat it. Like physically feel good, or if it physically makes me not feel good, like don't maybe eat it as much.
Yes, definitely. I feel like that's a really good way of putting it, is like intuitive eating, it's based on 10 principles, and it's basically supposed to help you reconnect with your body and listen to your body and how you feel from eating food, because so often we don't really connect with our bodies in that way. And it has a lot of benefits, you know, with not just your physical health, but also your mental health, because I think we've all at some point tried a diet and it may or may not have worked. Most likely didn't work, because diets are kind of known not to work. It also has a lot of like improved self-esteem. More body acceptance is also part of intuitive eating. And also can help with like that like emotional eating, or like loss of control eating that like we often also feel. So raise your hand if you want. If you've ever tried a diet before, definitely have tried multiple diets in the past, and I don't know if anyone wants to share like their experience with that. You don't have to, but for me, like, you know, I've probably more so in like middle school and high school felt like a lot of pressure. I think we all feel like pressure to have like certain body type, and also, you know, like some was also like restricting eating at some point, and so that's like my experience with diets. And then you know, my weight would fluctuate, and it's just, so part of intuitive eating is like more of that body acceptance, and you know, like what your body is, and also just trying to accept yourself, and also trying to just be aware of like, are you like latching on to different diets throughout your life, because that happens very often. And so you kind of go through this cycle, this diet cycle, where you start the diet, you restrict, you deprive yourself. Then once you start depriving yourself of foods, you start craving those foods more often. And this has actually been researched. And then you kind of, that leads to like out of control eating, and then eventually you feel like a lot of guilt. So you kind of like go through this cycle. And so intuitive eating is trying to, the first principle is like rejecting that diet mentality, and how that affects just like your health and your space. This is another one that's really important, and it kind of seems like self-explanatory, like listen to when you feel hungry, listen to when you feel full, but also something that, you know, with diets, when you are supposed to eat at a certain time, for example, you might be skipping meals when you actually feel hungry. So, and this can also, if you have a history of dieting often, you can kind of lose some of these cues, like lose some of these hunger cues, lose some of these satiety cues or fullness cues. And so this right here, this hunger scale, is something that you can just kind of make note of, you know, when you're eating. So it ranges from like you are so hungry that you feel dizzy to you're so full that you feel sick. And you really want to be like a 5 or a 6. You want to be a 6 usually. Slightly full, pleasantly full, like a pleasant fullness is something that you want to kind of strive for. So it's really about being in tune with your body and how you feel from food. Okay, another one is that food is a joyful experience, it's a pleasurable experience, and it should be. You know, we don't need to just eat like carrots, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We can eat foods that we actually enjoy, even if they have, say, like high fat content or high carbohydrate content. You can still have foods that you enjoy. With intuitive eating, when you're listening to your body, you notice that you might not feel good from eating certain foods, so maybe you have less of them, or you can still have them, but maybe you have them less often. So really finding a joyful experience out of food. Sometimes also when people go on diets, they might not go out to eat with friends, or they might just like avoid certain situations, and that in itself is not healthy. We should be, you know, enjoying food with other people, especially as gathering time is coming up. So definitely eat is really important. And then also just trying to recognize sometimes we use food for other things that are going on in our life, like emotional eating. I think, you know, definitely been there before. So trying to cope with your emotions with kindness. So what other things can you do if you're feeling just really down, if you're dealing with mental health issues? So yeah, trying to spend time in nature can be very healing. If you can, if you have access to therapy, definitely recommend therapy. Also just like connecting with friends, journaling. There's a lot of online resources if you are dealing with like mental health issues. And so also part of intuitive eating is like just trying to recognize if you are using food as like an emotional crutch, so to speak. And then also joyful movement. So intuitive eating also, you know, movement instead of, you know, physical activity, using other words. You don't have to go to the gym if you don't want to. You can just go for a walk, and it can be like 10 minutes. So this is trying to remove that rigidity of exercise and trying to do something that you actually enjoy. So that could be like walking with a friend, or maybe like an easy hike, or just like stretching. Like nothing has to be crazy. You'll have a better relationship with food and movement as you kind of like adopt these intuitive eating principles. And then I also, you know, with that intuitive eating, just some stress reduction techniques. Definitely like to recommend like walking if you can. If you have a dog, I think that's like a good excuse to try to like walk every day. You can also, YouTube has plenty of free resources when it comes to like meditation or visualization or anything like that. So just some things that I like to recommend for stress reduction. And then just some other healthy eating tips. Eat together, you know, with your friends and family if you can. Enjoy your meal. Again, food is about joyfulness, it's about pleasure, especially as, you know, different holidays are coming up. Eating more fiber, I definitely like to recommend that as a general rule of thumb. Any plant foods are really good for you. And then of course trying to drink more water. I don't know if anyone has kids, but if you do, I know picky eating can be something that can be difficult. I have nieces and nephews that kind of refuse to eat certain foods. So just some tips here. It's helpful to try the food first, and then they'll be more inclined to eat it. Giving a choice of different foods can also be helpful for picky eaters. And then if you are serving a new food, try to do it on a plate with foods that they're already familiar with. That might also be helpful. And then just trying to, keep it fun. I know this can be really challenging with kids.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With like the picky eaters, do you have any suggestions for textured eaters?
Oh, yeah, like if they have like sensory, yeah, that's a really good question. I would have to get back to you on that. I'll send you some resources. I have dealt with that in the past. Also food waste, just wanted to kind of go over that there's different like use by and sell by dates. So use by usually means it's no longer safe to eat, but sell by, it's still safe to eat about like, a couple months afterwards. So just want to be careful about like food waste and how we contribute to that too. You can also store fruits and vegetables in water can be helpful, and then freezing whatever you don't eat. And then I think this is one of my last slides. I did want to talk about health at every size. I don't know if anyone has heard of this, but this is a framework for just like working with people in general. And it has parts of intuitive eating. One thing I wanted to note too is that there's a lot of pressure, maybe from the doctor, about weight loss. But the truth is, like, you can be healthy at different sizes, and just trying to be cognizant of that, and that there's other measures that you can take, like looking at cholesterol levels versus weight. That would be really helpful for some people. So I did just want to make a note about that. Also, just like regular movement, and that those intuitive eating principles that we had discussed. And then I always like to plug Association for Size Diversity and Health. I think they're such a great organization. I've learned so much from them, and would really like to just kind of offer that resource if you want to like join them or just see some things that they have online. And I wanted to answer any questions that anyone had regarding anything we talked about today, or anything that came up that's unrelated to this. Totally, can answer anything. I don't know if anyone has any questions. And maybe start with this if there's no more questions. But today we are going to make these like protein power balls, whatever you want to call them, and they are really healthy. They have some things that we discussed today: good source of fiber, good source of protein, and then they're really good refrigerated too. The thing about these is you can pretty much put anything in them. The base of them is just like a peanut butter, some kind of nut butter. I don't know if anyone has allergies, but okay.
Are you allergic to peanut butter? Okay, it's just
No.
the berries, correct?
And
The berries.
cinnamon. And cinnamon.
Okay, so let's not put those in.
I'll take these out.
So yeah, they don't, like I said, they don't need to have anything that you don't want to put in them. The base is really just Oatmeal, really good source of fiber. Peanut butter, good source of protein. Chocolate chips. Chia seeds are also really good for lowering blood sugar. So I'm just gonna come in here. And these are also a snack that you can just keep in your refrigerator for like a couple of days. You'll probably eat a lot of them.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah.
I know I always drink my Nutri-Cream, I always eat my Nutri-Cream bars with soda. My mom's like, that's not helping you.
Hey, a little this,
I'm like,
little
gets me
that.
full, gets me full, right? Gets me full.
Okay. And then we're gonna do some, I kind of just, when I make these, I kind of just eyeball everything. But you wanna do like an equal ratio of like oats and peanut butter.
Lots of chocolate.
Lots of chocolate. Yeah, I mean, why not?
I've always seen like milk recipes and I've never actually done any of it.
Okay, I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. So this is okay. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit of vanilla extract.
Just pour it on in there.
A little bit there. Also gonna do some honey. You can also use maple syrup or molasses or any other kind of sweetener, agave. Yeah, the dried fruit is optional if you want to do that.
Yeah, those are my favorite. Right,
And these are nice because you don't have to bake them. And they're pretty easy and quick. And then so you're just gonna mix it all together and then basically form like just like little bite-sized pieces. So you can add any kind of seed or nut to this. I'm gonna add a little bit more oats actually.
And if we need a tray at all.
Yes. Yes. And I think they're really good refrigerated afterwards, maybe for like up to an hour. And then these are really good, like I said, just like a quick snack, and they're really easy. They don't take a lot of time up. These are really sticky. I like to put a lot of oats in them. So they're like a little bit drier. But it's up to you in terms of, these are really versatile and what kind of consistency you would like them to be. Like I said, you can really add anything. The base is just like some kind of nut butter and oats, and then you can add anything else that you want to it. You can also roll these in coconut flakes. It's one thing I had forgot, but they're really good rolled in coconut.
What about shredded chocolate?
You could do that.
Even other nuts would probably help it with like chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
They're still making nice balls though.
yeah.
Yeah, they look good.
I can also separate this and make some with the dried fruit if anyone did want that, and make sure that these don't have it.
Oh, okay.
You know, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So we'll make sure that we have them with and without.
Okay.
But Yeah, they're kind of, they can be really sticky. That's why I like to add a lot of oats. But once they're in the refrigerator for about an hour, they are a lot easier to work with.
Okay.
This might make it less sticky.
Okay.
There's a lot of different flavors of these that you can do, which is nice. And you don't have to use peanut butter if like you have an allergy or something like that.
So if you're not using peanut butter, is there something else you can do like in place of it to make it stick together more?
Yeah, like an almond butter, like some kind of, usually some kind of nut butter. And these are really good too for like a burst of energy because they are calorie dense. Good for like before you go for a walk or something like that.
Oh, run, huh? For James.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these might be a little bit easier. Thank you.
I do have a question now that's coming up.
Yeah.
If someone were to want to start getting into intuitive eating, how do you think they could like begin if they've never been familiar with that before?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. I would say that it's really helpful to just start paying attention to the way your body feels before and after eating. There's also a workbook, an intuitive eating workbook online. I think it might be like $10 on like Amazon, and that gives you pretty much daily prompts, asking about like your food habits and things like that. Another thing you can do is use that hunger scale that was on the presentation to just like see how you're feeling, and also kind of making like a promise to yourself to not go on any sort of diet, like any sort of fad diet, is also something that can be helpful because once you start dieting, it kind of takes away from how you're feeling from food and won't be able to practice intuitive eating. So that's what I'd like recommend there.
Gee, I wish it was on time, so I know what the hell you're talking about.
It's
We
recorded.
can share the resources
Yeah.
with you too.
Yeah.
What do you think would be some good check-in questions for yourself? Like, say if I don't have any idea of how to even check in, what do you think would be some good questions to ask?
Yeah, I would ask like, what do I need right now?
Okay.
Am I feeling hungry? If you are feeling hungry, of course, like get something to eat. But asking what you need right now, because it may be something else. Maybe there's more emotional support that you need. So I think asking those questions of like, what do I need right now, and like, what is my hunger level right now? And those are some good ways to kind of check in with yourself. And then so these are the second batch. These have the dried fruit in them. Like I said, I think they will kind of come together better once they're refrigerated or frozen for a couple of minutes. And yeah, so this is some healthy snacks that you can make. And you
Cleanup's not too bad.
yeah. Yes, not too bad there. And then you can kind of like, reuse all these ingredients for the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another alternative to substitute out peanut butter if someone doesn't like peanut butter?
Yes. Do you like almond butter at all? Do you like almond butter? No.
Sunflower butter.
You could
Are you sisters or something?
You could probably do it without some kind of nut butter. You could do like, you know, like a cookie butter and then add like seeds to it and kind of like make it like a healthy, I don't know if you've ever had that before. You could probably do it without any kind of nut butter and do like oats and maybe like honey and like chia seeds and dried fruit. You could probably do it without it. It might not be as like sticky, which might actually be helpful.
There's a yogurt one.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh, like frozen
I was
yogurt
gonna say
bites.
frozen yogurt bite. You could do that. Yeah, and then yeah, you can freeze them. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.